Hey guys, and we're now back with some more Lamplight City. So we're going to carry on from where we left off. I think it's considered case 3 because the very beginning was case 1 and then the last one was case 2, so let's get going. Let's see what we found out. So we know they've got a secret between the two actual parents have got a secret going on. Let's get hit, I think.
Too dark to tell what's inside. They must enjoy the somber atmosphere. Too dark to tell what's in...
Yes? May I help you?
This is the Spectre Society, right? I'm interested in joining.
Ah, yes it is. Welcome, darling. Our membership process is a bit different to most social clubs. We require a sponsor.
Sounds simple enough.
Well, you see, we ask that sponsors be people who have passed on into the spirit world. Once you name your sponsor, I will attempt communication beyond the ether. When they answer, you will be judged and considered for membership.
I've got a sponsor.
Excellent. What is the name of your sponsor, darling?
Bill Legere is my sponsor.
Seriously, Fordham? I thought you knew better than that.
Bill Legere. Very well, I will attempt to communicate with him.
She can do this all day. It's not gonna work.
I'm sorry, but I'm having trouble communicating. Perhaps you can come back and try again later?
See? Told you.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Hello again, Mr. Fordham.
I have some questions for you, Mrs. Davis.
All right.
That's a lovely portrait. Who is it of?
That is my late husband, Jonathan. He used to attend meetings of the Spectre Society with me, bless him. I tried to get him to be more in tune with the other side, but I think he was just humoring me. He was a good man. Everyone at the Society cared for him very much.
Thank you for your time, Mrs. Davis.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Maybe Jonathan Davis? Maybe we could try him.
I'll be going now, Mrs. Davis.
May the spirits guide your path.
Oh, hello again. How may I help you?
I'd like to name a new sponsor.
Yes, of course. Who is your new sponsor?
Jonathan Davis is my sponsor.
You knew Jonathan? He was such a kind man. Yes, I can feel his presence, and it speaks positively of you.
Please, come in, Mr. I didn't catch your name.
It's Miles Fordham.
And I am Angela Maxwell, the founder of the Spectre Society. Welcome.
May I offer you some refreshments? Some water or tea, perhaps?
You're very kind, but I'm afraid I must decline right now.
Well, please let me know if you change your mind.
Won't you look at this place? It's like a candy store for psychics. Those are some creepy twin girls. I could see a passing resemblance to Miss Maxwell, actually. There's quite a few members in this group.
I think I've seen one of these before. What does it do?
It's a spirit board. We use it to contact spirits, and they in turn spell out a message with the letters on the board.
Well, I've got a message from Miss Maxwell if she ever tries to use a spirit board around me. Ooh, spooky. That ghost between the two people almost manages to look convincing. That's probably the storage case for the spirit board. A great man once said to me, "Bill, you aren't going to get very far in life just staring at balls." He's dead now. But then again, so am I.
What a fascinating device. Exactly what does it do?
That is an etherometer. It's designed to pick up vibrations from the ether and translate messages from the spirits.
Must be for the more traditionalist members. The plaque says Leonora Pattinson, seer. She looks like someone I would not want to fool around with.
Hmm. Spontaneous combustion. It's a good book to read. Hmm. Hmm.
It's nice of Miss Maxwell to let people borrow her books, even if they are all just a bunch of nonsense. And coming from me, that's really saying something.
Hmm.
I never much cared for all that mystic stuff. Why should your life be dictated by a bunch of cards?
Could I ask you about some things, Miss Maxwell?
Certainly, darling.
What can you tell me about the Spectre Society?
Ah, where to begin? I formed this club 2 years ago, right after I moved to New Britannia. During our meetings, we discuss our experiences with paranormal phenomena and organize investigations.
What sort of investigations?
We look into places all around the city which have been reported as haunted. New Britannia is teeming with the spirits of those killed during the French and British takeovers of the city. Not only that, but there is a prevalence of mystic religious practices here in Gascon, brought over by immigrants from the Antilles.
Fascinating.
There are plenty of books on the subject over there in the bookcase, if you're interested in learning more.
I spoke with Henrietta Davis, and she mentioned one of your other members, Linda Walker. Can you tell me anything about her?
Ah, Linda, poor dear. Of all our members, she is the one I feel for the most.
Why is that?
She's had a tragic life, but I believe the Spectre Society has helped her greatly. Not only has she made a good friend in Henrietta, she's also dealt with her grief in a positive way. She has devoured my collection of books, educated herself on many subjects. I would say she's become an expert on clairvoyance and metempsychosis. It's always nice to know that the club can help those who have suffered.
Do you see her often?
Yes, she comes by about once or twice a week.
What made you decide to start up this club?
I began communing with the spirits at a very early age. My twin sister, Rachel, died after falling into an icy pond when we were 8 years old.
I'm very sorry, Miss Maxwell.
Oh, I appreciate your sympathy, darling, but don't feel too bad. Rachel began speaking to me shortly after that. She has served as my spirit guide ever since.
Spirit guide? You mean you still speak with her?
Oh, yes. Every day. In fact, I was just speaking with her before you arrived. As I grew older, I realized there were others in the world who were also able to communicate with spirits, and those who had an interest in what lies beyond the ether. And so, once I moved to New Britannia, I decided to start up this club so we could gather and share our experiences.
Do you suppose she can hear what I'm saying? Hey, Angela, try a bit less eyeshadow, would you? You look like a purple raccoon. Nothing. Clearly a fraud. Ah, well.
I was wondering,
Yes?
when you communicate with the spirits, are you able to stop?
If I wish them to leave me, yes. I bid them farewell, and they usually depart back into the ether.
What about the more persistent ones?
You do remember I'm right here, don't you?
Well, just between you and me. Those spirits are best dealt with by having the other kind of spirits. Quiets them right down.
I prefer soporific myself.
Oh? You hear the voices of the spirits as well, Mr. Fordham. But of course, now the reason for your visit to the Spectre Society is obvious. Do you see? All our paths eventually become clear. I'm glad yours has brought you here.
Oh, wonderful. Now she started rhyming. Don't get any funny ideas about telling her about me. She may be a lunatic, but that's no reason to expose yourself as one too.
I don't hear the voices of all spirits, just one.
Miles, what are you doing?
Ah, you have a spirit guide. Please, tell me more, darling.
I wouldn't call him a spirit guide so much as a spirit nag.
This is a very, very bad idea.
Do you know who this spirit is?
Yes, it's my former detective partner, Bill. I shot him on our last case together.
You shot him?
He was on a roof being held at knife point by a burglar. They were too close. I took the shot, but missed, and hit my partner instead.
Oh my, you poor darling. Is he angry with you?
Well, he is now. He doesn't think it's a good idea to tell others about him. But normally, he's the same as he was in life. He just wants me to find the man responsible for his death. I've told him I'm really the one responsible, but he insists it's the burglar.
I see. This is quite the unfortunate situation. My advice to you is this. Spirits often know best. You do well to listen to him about keeping his presence to yourself. Not everyone is as open-minded as we members of the Spectre Society.
Huh. Maybe I misjudged her.
I know. It's been hardest keeping this from my wife, but I can't drive her away. She's all I've really got left.
Your story has touched me, Mr. Fordham. I will do everything I can to help you and your spirit guide find peace. If I find anything out which might help you, I will contact you personally.
Thank you, Miss Maxwell. I appreciate it.
Well, that could have turned out much worse. I'm warning you, Miles. Tell anyone else about me, and I won't be so forgiving.
I'm sorry, what was it you said? Madam Psy, what?
Metempsychosis, darling. It's a philosophical term which comes from ancient Greece. It refers to the transmigration of the soul after death.
Is that anything like reincarnation?
Essentially, yes. There's a book on the subject over in the bookcase, which can tell you far more than I possibly could.
What can you tell me about Linda and Henrietta's friendship?
It's so lovely to see them together at the meetings. They're practically inseparable. It's quite sweet. They often leave messages for each other in the guest book. When Linda found out that Henrietta was taking care of an infant, she even gave her a toy bear for the child. I remember Linda lighting up with excitement when she asked about him. She really loves children. It's such a terrible shame about... But please, let's discuss something more pleasant, shall we, darling?
What's this tragic story about Linda you mentioned?
Oh, dear. I probably shouldn't say.
Miss Maxwell, I'm going to be frank. I'm investigating a kidnapping, and Mrs. Walker is a person of interest. I need to know as much about her as possible to help me solve this case. Do I make myself clear?
Well, if it will help, Linda was married to a man named Thomas. Together, they had a son named Alexander. Thomas revealed himself to be a terribly cruel man. When he gave himself over to the drink, he would fly into rages and beat both Linda and the boy. One day, she came home to find both her son and husband dead.
My God, what happened?
The police ruled it a murder-suicide. Poisoning, apparently. Linda has been trying to make contact with Alexander's spirit for the past year or so, but has had no luck. It really is a terrible tragedy.
That's awful.
Do you know anything about the kidnapping of Charles Harris?
I'm afraid I haven't heard anything about any kidnappings, darling. If you wish, I can commune with the spirits and see if I can help locate your missing person.
That won't be necessary, Miss Maxwell, though I appreciate the offer.
Hey, Squire X Gaming, how you doing? I'm doing good. I'm really good. How you doing?
Do you know Linda Walker's address?
I'm afraid not, darling. Linda has always been somewhat private, and that's not something I consider to be crucial information.
Do you know any way I can find her?
You could always come back for our next meeting. It will be the first Thursday of next month.
By then, we'll have completely lost track of Charles. There has to be another way of finding Linda.
Thank you for the information. It was very enlightening.
It was my pleasure, darling.
It's always good when you get a chance just to kind of like chill at work rather than just be all, you know, rushed off your feet and everything.
There's quite a few members in this group.
Her name's Linda Walker, isn't it? So... Okay. Hang on. This says about meeting the baby at like 8 PM, and that's kind of around the time that she got knocked out. Unless, of course, it could be someone else who saw the notes, because you've got SS here as well, which is what was found on the jacket. Oh yeah, I guess with IT it would be one of the, yeah, you know, until someone calls up and says, oh, I've got a problem with my computer. How many times though has it been a case of where it could have been just like simple, have you tried turning off and on again though?
I'll be going now.
May the spirits guide you to that which you seek.
I mean, we don't really have like an on-person tech support at where I work. They usually just have this place you can call up, but they're not always too great. Because sometimes it's usually they need someone sort of like actually to come in. So, because I know a little bit about some computer stuff, I usually generally get asked, well, do you know how to do this? Do you know how to fix this? And then there'll be like some issues where it's like, well, have you tried turning it off first to see what happens if you reboot the system? Or the funny times when they say there's an issue going on, and I come to look at it, and it doesn't do it anymore. It just stops doing it.
Hello, sir. Welcome to LaFay Lenders. I'm the owner, Chester LaFay. Are you looking to take out a loan?
Not today, I'm afraid. I'm Miles Ford. I'm a private investigator.
Look, I don't know what you've heard, but I run a clean business here. I don't need any trouble.
And I'm not here to cause any. For the moment.
Just keep your nose where it belongs. We should get along fine.
Must be soothing for LaFay to be able to look at this landscape while he sits at his desk. Do you suppose LaFay turns the heat up to put some pressure on his clients? He actually has a degree in business from the University of New Britannia? What a waste.
Yep. Or it's the case of the computer's like, I'm gonna act out with someone who doesn't know what they're doing, and then I'm just gonna stop, you know.
LaFay with a woman and a small girl. I wouldn't have taken him for a family man. A crew escaping a shipwreck on a violent sea. Not the most comforting painting to look at while waiting for a loan. I shudder to think how many people's financial freedoms are locked away in that cabinet. That's the latest model Computron. They don't come cheap. LaFay must be doing pretty well for himself.
Mr. LaFay, I'd like to ask you some questions.
Fine, but keep it brief.
Tell me what you know about Malcolm Harris.
Ah, Mr. Harris. Took out a loan about a month ago. Still hasn't paid me back. In fact, he sent along a letter yesterday, saying he was having an emergency and needed more time. I probably should have refused to do business with him. As soon as he walked through the door, I could tell his type.
What type is that?
Upper class, bored with his life, trying to escape and doing it through vice. In his case, gambling.
This guy is good. Maybe you can pursue money lending if the whole private investigator thing doesn't work out.
But for some reason, I pitied him, and decided to give him the loan anyway. Compassion isn't exactly an asset in this business, you see.
Nothing to worry about in your case, then.
Aside from that, I don't know anything about him. I prefer to keep how much I know about my clients to a minimum. Makes things easier for me.
Tell me a bit about yourself and your business, Mr. LeFay.
What's to tell? I lend people money, they pay me back.
Surely it's not that simple.
Well, of course I charge interest, otherwise I'd never make a profit. I know people don't look upon the service I provide very favorably, but without my help, there would be a lot more unhappiness in the world.
How did you go about starting up this business?
I didn't. My former employer, Mr. Roth, left it to me when he passed.
That was rather good of him.
Yes, well, he didn't have any heirs, and he considered me to be the son he never had. He was fond of my family, too. I try and keep my work and home life as far away from each other as I can, though. There's a lot of things in this line of work that my wife and daughter are better off not knowing about.
Take a look at this piece of fabric. Does it look familiar to you?
Sure, it looks like it came from a jacket. In fact, yes, it's the same fabric as the jacket I'm wearing.
What, so they just didn't actually turn the screen on, it was just turned off then? Oh dear.
Would you mind if I took a look at your jacket?
Sure, not a problem. Here.
I keep clicking on it just to see if anything comes up on the front, and then click on the back, I think. Nothing whatsoever, but because his jacket looks fine though.
No tears in mine, huh?
Not a one. You clearly take good care of your clothing.
I don't mean to discourage you, Mr. Fordham, but I've seen a lot of people with this style of jacket. Hell, even Malcolm has one. I remember he was wearing it when he came in here.
I see. Thank you for the information, Mr. LeFay. I've got some more questions, Mr. LeFay.
Go ahead, then.
Exactly how much did Mr. Harris borrow from you?
Is that relevant to your investigation?
It would help to have an idea of exactly how much he owes you, yes.
I don't feel comfortable telling you the exact amount, but I will say it was over 500 crowns.
A considerable sum.
Like I said, I probably shouldn't have done it, but I'll get the money back one way or another.
What's your policy regarding people who don't pay their loans back?
There are a few options. For the first 3 months or so, I'll send them a letter reminding them. After that, I start to threaten them with legal action. You wouldn't believe some of the things people do to avoid paying back their loans. One client went so far as to fake his own death.
Do you ever employ any more unusual methods?
If you're implying that I do anything illegal, Mr. Fordham, you're mistaken. Look, I have a family to consider. I'm not about to go get my hands dirty when there's plenty of legitimate ways to handle the situation.
Yeah. You get some people that just think, oh, there's got to be something wrong. Like if someone hasn't plugged a cable in the back and they're like, well, this isn't working. And you go, oh, did you realise the cable wasn't plugged in? And they go, oh no, I didn't think to look that. Oh dear.
Are you aware that Malcolm's
But there's always
son
people that are like
Charles
that
was
though.
kidnapped last
So
night?
I had no idea he even had a son. As I said, I don't ask my clients too many personal questions. Though now you've told me, I suppose that would explain the emergency he mentioned in his letter. Poor guy.
I think that's all for now.
at least bright side, my mum isn't too bad with that. You know, she does sometimes contact me if she has a problem that she can't figure it out. And if I sort of like briefly tell her what to do, she can usually find her way around the computer to do it, so it's not too bad with her. I mean, she had a problem recently on her laptop where one of her games just wouldn't load up properly, and I said to her, well, get an external hard drive, back up what you want on your laptop, just in case. Because she had a problem with like one of the Windows updates. And I couldn't find the game files anywhere of the game she was playing, so I said to her, either it's saved on the cloud or you're gonna lose the game files, but you know, try reinstalling the game and see what happens. And she did, and it worked. And thankfully the files that she had on the game were actually saved on the cloud, so she didn't lose the gameplay either, which is good.
Well, someone certainly wasn't shy about making their opinion known.
And so we say to Harris and his cronies, no, we will not stand for this. Too many have died to allow this to continue. Steam tech must be stopped.
But the way this gate is set up, I think trespassers should get an award for being able to breach the fortress. Elect Hart Leroy, the man of the people. I think that's preaching to the choir around here. Don't these people have jobs they need to go to?
Pardon me, are you Arthur Devens by any chance?
Yes? Who are you?
Miles Fordham, private investigator. Could I ask you a few questions?
Guess so, yeah.
You seem very dedicated to your cause.
I'll take that as a compliment, Mr. Fordham.
There's quite a lot of people who are against steam tech, aren't there?
Yes, the movement is gaining ground and growing rapidly, I'm pleased to say.
I've heard stories about some more extreme members. Do you know anything about that?
You mean the Redites? Sure, I've heard of them. Even met a few. But if you think I'm telling you anything else beyond that, you're sorely mistaken.
Are you a member of the Redites, Mr. Devens?
No, I prefer more peaceful methods of making my voice heard. Now, if you don't mind, I think we should drop the subject.
Do you recognize this button?
Can't say I do, but it looks handmade. I wonder how long it will be before the poor soul who crafted that button gets booted into the street, replaced with some steam-belching contraption.
Probably not long.
Does this piece of fabric look familiar to you?
Looks like it came from some fancy jacket, the type you'd expect to see on the snobs in Leon. I could never afford clothes like that in a million years.
Why are you out here protesting?
Because what Harris Construction is doing ain't right. I lost my wife in the Lygia crash, and I'm not the only one, neither. Hundreds of people were affected by that disaster, and now these bastards are making another airship. It's like a slap in the face to everyone who died. I just can't understand it.
What do you hope to accomplish by protesting?
Simple. We want construction of the Lenore stopped, and a full investigation into the Lygia disaster. Not only that, we want compensation for our losses. Royal Maverick took care of all the families of those on board, but the families of the ones in the park didn't get a single copper. It just isn't fair. We aim to make things right. After that, it'll just be a matter of time before people realize that there's no future in steam tech, and they'll call the whole thing off.
Ah, the innocence of the downtrodden. I wish I could be as naive as them. It would have made my life a lot easier.
You must have loved your wife very much.
Are you joking? I loved her more than there are stars in the sky. She was my whole world, Mr. Fordham, the light of my life. It's been nothing but cold and dark since she was killed. You're married, aren't you, Mr. Fordham? I see a ring on your finger.
I am, yes.
Then take my advice. Appreciate every moment you have with her. You never know when she'll be ripped out of your life, leaving you with nothing.
You know, this fellow was actually pretty wise. Maybe we misjudged him.
Do you recognize this letter, Mr. Devens?
How'd you get that? That wasn't meant for you.
I found it at the home of Mr. Malcolm Harris. He tells me you've been sending quite a few of these to his father.
Me and everyone else would had someone killed by that devil machine. I'm not the only one, you know.
Perhaps not, but he told me you were the most persistent. Do you practice voodoo, Mr. Devens?
What?
The chicken bones and dust you send along with your letters. It's a voodoo spell meant to cause bad luck in business. Quite a convenient solution, wouldn't you say?
I don't know what you're on about.
Come now, Mr. Devens. I'd appreciate it if you didn't think I was stupid.
All right, fine. I went to go see one of them magic women in Gascon. She told me about the spell and what I needed to do. I don't believe in the stuff, but I thought maybe if I used it, I could scare Harris enough to get him to stop making the new airship.
Well, I don't mean to be one to put a damper on your amateur witchcraft, but it doesn't seem to be doing you much good. What have you got against the Harris family?
The family? Don't know nothing about the family. The only one I got a problem with is Clyde Harris, the one who owns this yard. He's just like all those other rich bastards with their heads in the clouds. The man don't care about the dead. He just wants to make as much money as he can. I'm just trying to make him realize how wrong he is.
Do you know anything about the kidnapping of Charles Harris?
Charles Harris? Who's that?
Clyde Harris's grandson.
I didn't even know we had a grandson. I can't believe someone with a grandkid, a family, would want more flying death in the air. How many more people have to die before someone realizes that steam machines are evil? People will kill their own mams for a crown these days.
Good day to you, Mr. Devens.
You too, Mr. Fordham.
Okay. Do we know, like, around here there's supposed to be a voodoo person, isn't there? But whether we get to see him, I don't know.
Hello again, Mr. Fordham. Did you hear? The Harrises got a note from the kidnapper.
I didn't hear. When was this?
Oh, not long ago. Within the hour. You should go see them about it.
Thank you, Mrs. Davis. I shall. I'll be going now, Mrs. Davis.
May the spirits guide your path.
Oh, Mr. Fordham. Oh, thank God you're back.
What's going on?
Our butler just brought this in. He found it stuck to the gate outside.
I have some questions for you, Mr. Harris.
Yes, of course.
What is your opinion of this ransom note?
It's obvious who sent it, Mr. Fordham. Why are you wasting your time here? Go arrest Mr. Devens!
Those are all the questions I had for now.
All right.
I have some questions for you if you're up to answering them, Mrs. Harris.
I'll try my best, Mr. Fordham.
Did you read the ransom note?
No, Malcolm wouldn't let me. He said I was already too upset.
That's all for now, Mrs. Harris.
Very well.
I mean, it does look similar in the fact that the spelling's exactly the same, like, he can't spell. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's just him. It could be someone else who doesn't know how to write properly.
Hello again, Mr. Fordham.
I have some questions for you, Mrs. Davis.
All right.
Mrs. Davis, have you ever had Linda visit you at the Harris Manor?
Oh, no, of course not.
Then would you care to explain your note to her in the Spectre Society guest book?
Please, Mr. Fordham, I didn't mean to lie to you. It's just that it gets so lonely by myself in the house at night. So every now and then, I invite Linda to come over for tea and some company.
I see. And when was the last time this happened?
2 nights ago. Please don't tell Mr. and Mrs. Harris, Mr. Fordham. If they found out what I was doing, they'd have me dismissed without a reference.
I won't, but I'd very much like to speak with Mrs. Walker. Do you have any idea where I can find her?
All I know is that she works as a seamstress at a shop in Lyon, but I don't know the name. I'm sorry, I can't be of any more help than that.
Thank you for your time, Mrs. Davis.
Oh, you're very welcome.
I'll be going now, Mrs. Davis.
May the spirits guide your path.
Welcome back, Mr. Fordham.
I don't think there's anything she can help with right now. There's quite a few members in this group.
I'll be going now.
May the spirits guide you to that which you seek.
I'm here.
Hello, Miles.
Addie?
What do you need, dear?
How are things going with you?
I'm a bit worried about some rumors I've been hearing.
Oh?
They're saying it won't be long before automated hairdressing devices are available to the public. Once that happens, it's going to be tough for me to keep getting jobs.
Automated hairdressing devices? How would those even work? Do they read your mind?
Doubtful. More than likely they'll have some kind of settings or just give everyone the same type of hairstyle.
I wouldn't worry too much, Addie. You're the best hairdresser in town. I doubt people will place their trust in some contraption over you.
You underestimate my clientele, Miles. They're mostly all rich socialites whose hobbies are buying the most expensive and modern things just to outdo their peers. They'll be sending their servants to line up for days before the things are released.
Perhaps, but they'll come running back to you once the machines stop working. You'll see.
I certainly hope so.
Have you ever heard of a group called the Spectre Society?
I think I had a client once who mentioned it. They're some kind of spiritualist group, right?
So it would seem.
I don't really know anything else about them, sorry.
I can't believe the nerve of that narrow-minded old cow.
Who, Mrs. Delacroix? She's actually one of my nicest clients.
I don't know how you can tolerate her. If I were you, I'd strike her off my list.
If I did that for every one of my clients who thought the same as her, I'd be out of a job. That's just the way it is.
Maybe so, but it doesn't make it any less infuriating. I'd forgotten how good you are at écarté. You absolutely destroyed me the other night.
As I recall, you used to hold your own pretty well.
We should have another match soon. That way I can hone my skills.
Yes, we should. As long as you can concentrate, I'm sure you'll get as good as you used to be.
You weren't kidding about business picking up. You're averaging what, about 3 appointments per day?
More like 5. I told you, debutante ball season's busy.
Doesn't it get tiresome?
Not really. You'd be surprised at the sort of gossip I hear from my clients. I don't know what it is, but they just open up to me and tell me all kinds of personal things. You sure you don't want me to give you a trim?
I'm fine for now, dear. Thank you. I'll let you get back to your book.
I shouldn't be gone too long.
Don't work yourself too hard, dear.
Can we talk?
Go on, I'm listening.
How's work going?
Hectic as usual. Crime in this city seems to be getting worse and worse every day.
I suppose that's the price of progress.
God help us if they ever actually discover that ethericity stuff then. Things between you and Adelaide getting any better?
I'm really not sure. They haven't gotten worse, but things haven't been the same between us since Bill died.
Well, you need to figure things out, or everything is just going to explode in your face one of these days.
Thanks for the vote of confidence, Upton.
I'm merely speaking from experience. If I'd seen the warning signs with Harold sooner, it would have saved me quite the headache. At least your marriage seems like it's still worth saving.
Can we go over my current case?
Of course. What have you got?
I found this torn piece of fabric at the crime scene. It's got an emblem with some initials on it.
I recognize that emblem. It's from Solomon Stitching, a little tailor shop in Lyon. My ex-husband had several jackets from there.
Sorry to dredge up old memories, but do you remember where they're located?
I believe it's on the corner of Bonneville Street and Surratt Avenue.
Fantastic. You're helpful as always, Upton. I found this button at the crime scene. The child's nanny identified it as the eye of his stuffed bear.
Did you find the bear at the scene?
No, the kidnapper must have taken it as well.
Interesting.
Either the kidnapper is very compassionate, or it's someone who knew the child. I spoke with Henrietta Davis, the Harris family nanny.
A sensible place to start. What did she have to say?
She claims to have been unconscious when the kidnapping took place.
She must be an extremely heavy sleeper.
I don't believe so. The way she described it made it sound like she was drugged.
Interesting. Definitely worth looking into, I'd say.
Have you ever heard of the Spectre Society?
I think so. They're some sort of ghost hunting club, aren't they?
A spiritualist group, yes.
Don't tell me this case has taken a turn for the supernatural.
Not exactly. It's just come up as a potential lead. Are you familiar with the term metempsychosis?
No, what is it?
Apparently some mystics and philosophers maintain that it's a process whereby human and animal souls are transferred to new bodies upon death.
Fascinating. Some people have such queer ideas. What's that got to do with the kidnapping, though?
I'm not exactly sure yet.
Sometimes I'm jealous of all the odd things you detectives get to look into.
That's enough about the case for now.
Okay.
What's the other case you mentioned? The one you said was a higher priority.
Well, it seems we might have a mass murderer on our hands.
You don't say.
That's right. I didn't say because I shouldn't say. But so far, we've had 3 murders with a very similar MO in the past 2 months. Snelling is trying his hardest to keep it under wraps since the newspapers already caught wind of the first 2.
I don't envy the department there. I'm happy to stick with the missing persons and domestic disputes. That's it, I think.
Then you'd better get back to it.
Good day to you, sir. Welcome to Solomon Stitching. I'm Jonah Solomon. Please, let me know if I can help you with anything.
Quite the selection, but I doubt the typical clientele of this place buys off the rack. That coat is so dull. I always prefer the ones with a bit more color. The design of that coat looks awfully familiar. This guy has been in business forever. Isaac Samuels, the prime minister who freed the slaves. They say even his enemies wept on the day he died. I sure hope I get to meet him someday. My grandmother had one like that. I think it was meant to be relaxing, but it always felt like my time was running out. Now that it has, well, it actually is relaxing. Go figure. Impressive collection of pattern books. I wish I'd known about this guy when I was alive. I'd have asked him to make me a suit for my funeral. Judging from the position and the lock, this is likely where Mr. Solomon keeps his money. That cloth will be a garment soon. A vest, by the looks of it. Or maybe I'm completely wrong, and it's a treasure map.
Mr. Solomon?
Yes, sir. How may I be of service? Oh, let me guess. You're looking to replace that old coat. It looks like it's got quite a few stories it could tell me.
You should listen to the man, Miles. He clearly knows what he's talking about.
Not today, I'm afraid. There's still a few more stories it has left to tell. Actually, I was wondering if I could ask you a few questions.
Questions? Very well, but if they aren't about tailoring, I don't know how much help I'll be.
This is a nice shop you have. I never even knew it existed.
Well, better late than never, I always say. Life has a funny way of always taking us where we need to go in the end.
True. Although I think it's easy to miss out on things from time to time.
Oh, of course. It's easy to overlook the details, but in the grand scheme of things, you'll end up where you need to be. And in this case, you ended up here. So, please, feel free to take a look around. Let me know if you find anything you like.
I found this piece of torn fabric with your emblem on it. Can you tell me anything about it?
Yes. Brown, wool, houndstooth. Ah, this is from one of the more popular jackets I sell.
And here I thought my ability to name ales within 5 seconds of tasting them was good. This fella has me beat.
Do you have any of them in stock currently?
Well, sure. I've got one on the display dummy over there.
Is there any way you can tell me who you've sold them to?
Oh, I don't think so. I've sold at least 20 in the past month. As I said, it's a very popular style.
Is there anything you can tell me about this button?
Looks like it's made of wood. Not very well crafted either. Definitely not from one of my products.
How did you get into this business, Mr. Solomon?
I was always good with a needle and thread. When I was a boy in Poland, I would help my mother with her sewing. Then, during the war with Russia, I fixed uniforms and stitched up wounds. Not long after that, I moved to Vespuccia, settled here in New Britannia. My first shop was in the Chum, but thankfully, I was very successful and was able to move to Lyon. I won't lie to you, this location is much, much nicer. It's refreshing to not have to step over drunken hobos when I open and close the shop.
Oh, but that's part of the charm of owning a business in the Chum.
Not much else to say beyond that. My business is my life.
You seem very dedicated to your craft.
That's right. You won't see any of that newfangled steam-powered nonsense in here. Everything is done by hand and with care. I use only the finest quality materials and stitch every thread myself. And that's the way it's gonna stay as long as I'm around. It's worked for 45 years. There's no reason to change as far as I'm concerned.
Do you by chance employ a seamstress named Linda Walker?
I do, yes.
Is she here?
No, she has the day off today, but she'll be in tomorrow.
Would it be possible to have her address?
Begging your pardon, but why should I give it to you?
I'm a private investigator, and it's crucial to this case.
Well, as I said, she'll be here tomorrow. You can ask her then.
It really is a matter of some urgency.
I'm sure it can wait a day.
But
if it were really that urgent, I would think the police would be involved, not a private investigator. I'm not obligated to tell you anything, so please, let's move on before I lose my patience.
Please, Mr. Solomon, it's extremely important that I get Mrs. Walker's address.
So you said, but why should I?
I know I said I was a private investigator before, but there's a more delicate reason I want to speak with Mrs. Walker.
Oh?
Her son, Alexander, and mine were schoolmates. I just found a book he lent my son, and I wanted to return it. I've been trying to track her down for ages, and only just found out where she worked.
Oh, I see. It was a terrible tragedy what happened with her boy and her husband. I know how private Mrs. Walker is, but I'm sure she would appreciate you returning her son's book. All right. She lives at 403 St. Agnes Street.
Remember when you couldn't even bring yourself to trick people into thinking their shoelaces were untied? You've come a long way, Miles.
I'll be taking my leave of you now, Mr. Solomon.
Very good.
Come to think of it, I have seen plenty of people wearing that design. No tears in this one, though. Some people would call that humming and hissing the sound of progress. I'd call it annoying. It says here that Linda Walker is in the upstairs apartment, and someone named Douglas Emafiel is under the stairs. His machine is quiet. It's already gone up considerably in my estimation.
You could learn a thing or two from it, Bill.
Nobody home. Now what?
What? Who are you? Are you from the Steamworks?
Afraid not, sir.
Damn. Oh well, what can I do for you?
Do you know Linda Walker?
Of course. She lives upstairs. Who's asking?
I'm Miles Fordham. I'm trying to find Linda so I can speak with her.
What's your business with her?
I'm afraid that's private.
Well, she's out right now. You'll have to come back another time if you want to visit her.
Have you got any idea when Mrs. Walker will be back?
Not for a few days. She told me she was going away for a bit. Ah, that reminds me. She asked me to water her plants while she was gone. Just need to remember where I put the spare key.
Why did you think I was from the Steamworks?
Because I contacted them a few days ago when my boiler broke, and nobody has come to repair it yet. I should have known better. Those fools always take their time, if they even bother showing up at all. Meanwhile, I'm stuck in here with nothing but cold water. If I catch pneumonia and die, you'll know who to blame.
Did you say something about having a spare key to Mrs. Walker's apartment?
Sure, I'm her landlord. I look after the place when she's gone. Got a bit of a green thumb, that one, so she puts me in charge of watering her plants. The trip up is a bit of a pain, though. My hips aren't what they used to be.
I'm a private detective, and it's of the utmost importance that I get that key from you.
Right. Private detective. I don't have to do anything you say. You're not really the law. So nice try, but I'm not betraying Mrs. Walker's trust so easily.
He says that now, but I'm willing to bet he'd do it if it benefited him in some way.
Sorry to bother you, sir. I'll just be on my way.
I just save it just in case when I click on that boiler, because you know, they keep saying about how some of the Steam stuff just keeps, you know, breaking down and all that jazz. So just in case, because you never know.
Miles, what are you doing? You don't know the first thing about steam engine repair.
It can't be that hard to work out.
If you're serious about getting it fixed, I'd suggest looking for someone who knows about this sort of thing first. But if you just want to charge in blindly, be my guest.
It won't go any further in that direction.
Okay. Ah. Did you look at that? I think I fixed it, right?
I don't think you should leave this thing unattended before you've made any repairs.
It won't go any further in that direction.
Oh, that didn't sound good, did it?
What the? My boiler! What have you done?
I do apologize.
You're one of those saboteurs, aren't you? One of those Redites!
No,
I'm calling the police, you no-good troublemaking
Okay.
bastard!
Now you've really done it, Miles. Best not to stick around here too long.
How about we load that back up? Try that again.
Miles, what are you doing? You don't know the...
It can't be that hard.
If you're serious... But... Well,
There we go.
You're either extremely lucky, or you've done this sort of thing before.
Oh, ye of little faith.
Mm-hmm.
Yes? What is it?
I fixed the boiler for you.
What? Are you serious? It's pretty pathetic when some yahoo off the street does a better job than the people paid to do this sort of thing. I owe you, friend.
Might I take you up on that offer and get that spare key to the apartment?
Oh, right. You said you were a private detective, didn't you? Did Mrs. Walker do something wrong? Is she in trouble?
I'm not entirely sure yet, which is why I need to take a look inside her apartment.
I see. Well, I wouldn't normally do this, but you did me a great service by fixing the boiler. I can't just give you the spare key, but I can let you into the apartment.
That'll be just fine. Thank you.
What in the ether?
Cripes, did a tornado come through this place or what?
Looks as though she definitely left in a hurry. I wonder if she planned on ever coming back.
I'll be waiting for you in the kitchen, Mr. Fordham. Just let me know when you're done looking around.
Right, before we carry on, guys, I am just going to BRB 1 second there, guys. And I'm back.
There's a handwritten note here. Valerian mixed with chamomile. Sedative effects, deep sleep.
Seems Mrs. Walker's an amateur herbalist.
Maybe not so amateur. I'd love to see the look on Mrs. Davis's face if she knew it wasn't a spirit that possessed her. In fact, let's go tell her, so I can see it.
You've gotten fairly misanthropic in your death, Bill.
Have I? I hadn't noticed. I don't know about you, but I'm starting to have my fill of plants and flowers. Torn apart. She took most everything. Well, it doesn't appear she had much to take. The books she left behind are all trashy romance novels. Why wouldn't she take those? They're clearly the best ones. I thought my apartment was messy. It's a boy. Can't be more than 7 or 8 years old. If that's Linda's son, why would she leave this behind?
Good question.
Well, at least that painting cheers the place up a little bit. Nice patterns. I wonder if Linda makes all her own clothes. A fairly recent model. Linda must have spent a good portion of her wages on it. That bit of torn wallpaper looks almost deliberate. What do you know? She hid a book behind the wallpaper. Looks like a journal.
Wait, she killed her. Oh.
Well, this is pretty damn incriminating.
Yeah,
I'll
that's
say.
probably her then.
Now we just need to figure out where she's gone, as well as how she managed to drug Mrs. Davis.
She
We've
killed
got
her
you
own
now,
kid and
Linda.
father.
Thought you could be
Not
clever
father,
and
kid
get away with
husband.
the baby, did you?
Bill?
Well, you thought wrong. With Fordham and Leger on the case, the only thing you're getting is a one-way trip to jail.
Bill?
And the worst part is how sloppy she was. I mean, really, she couldn't think to pick up a button? She might as well have left a signed confession in the crib for all the good it did her.
Bill, would you just shut up, for God's sake? Huh? Is everything all right?
Yes, everything's just fine. I just stubbed my toe on the bed frame.
You ought to be more careful, Mr. Fordham.
Sorry, Miles. You know how I get when we're close to solving a case.
You always do this. I need to concentrate, and I can't hear myself think with you yapping away.
Right, sorry. I'll keep it to myself.
Thank you.
But you have to admit, she really would have saved us the trouble if...
Bill.
Right. Not another peep. As you were. You're actually gonna dig through that mess? I sure hope it's worth it. A receipt with yesterday's date. One-way train ticket to Pierre in Lorraine. Departed this afternoon.
Thought she could get away easy, it seems. Well, I hate to disappoint her.
I hope you were able to find out what you needed.
Yes, thank you for your cooperation.
We haven't anything to discuss right now, Fordham. Come back when you've got something for me.
I do. I like the fact that she's potentially taking a baby.
Hello again, Mr. Fordham.
I have some questions for you, Mrs. Davis.
All right.
Mrs. Davis, where did you get the tea you drank on the night of the kidnapping?
From my own private supply, I drink a blend of hibiscus and elderberry. It clears the mind and puts me more in tune with the spirits.
Did it taste off to you?
No. Why do you ask?
Because I think your tea may have been drugged.
Wait, are you saying?
I believe Mrs. Walker used her own herbs to drug your tea, knowing you'd drink a cup the following evening. She then snuck into the house after you'd fallen asleep and took the child.
Oh my word, I never would have thought.
I know, Mrs. Davis. But don't worry, I'm doing everything I can to find her.
Oh, may the spirits guide you, Mr. Fordham.
Thank you for your time, Mrs. Davis.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Well, I'd say we have everything we need to prove it was Linda who drugged Mrs. Davis's tea and took the child. And we know where she's going, too. Upton will want to know about this as soon as possible.
I'll be going now, Mrs. Davis.
May the spirits guide your path.
That was quite straightforward, really, though, wasn't it, really?
Can we talk?
Go on, I'm listening.
I'm ready to wrap this case up.
Okay, who's your prime suspect?
It was Linda Walker,
Who is she?
a seamstress who befriended the Harris family nanny. She took the child because she believes he's the reincarnation of her deceased son, whom she accidentally poisoned.
My God.
You'll find a journal explaining her motive at her apartment, as well as the plants she used to drug Mrs. Davis.
But what about the broken window in the nursery?
All part of a false crime scene she set up to draw our attention away from her.
Excellent work, Miles. Did you manage to find out where Mrs. Walker is now?
Yes, I found a receipt for a one-way train ticket to Pierre. Departed this afternoon.
Fantastic. We can send a telegram to the train station and have her arrested upon arrival. You've done extremely well, Fordham. Snelling could only hope to have a detective as good as you again.
You flatter me.
Then I'd better stop before your head gets any bigger. All right, Miles. I'll go through the proper channels and report your information as an anonymous tip. And of course, I'll dip into the department's Good Samaritan fund to get you proper compensation for your work. For now, go home to your wife. I'm sure I'll have something else for you to look into fairly soon.
Welcome to Lorraine. An awfully cute baby you got there.
Oh, thank you, sir. This is my son, Alexander.
Alexander. That's a good name. Strong name.
Yes, thank you. I don't mean to be rude, but I'm in a bit of a hurry and I need to get to my hotel.
Of course. I won't keep you any longer, Mrs. Walker.
Thank you. Wait. How did you know my name?
I didn't. It was
There you go,
lucky
Big Hayden.
guess. But now, seeing as I know your name, allow me to tell you mine. I'm Sheriff Zeke Dollarhide.
That's a pretty good game. I'm definitely
Linda Walker,
enjoying it.
You are under arrest for the kidnapping of Charles Harris. Surrender the child and come with me.
No, you've got it all wrong. This is my son. This is my Alexander.
Ma'am, please don't make this difficult. Come along to the station and we'll get this all sorted out.
Addie, are you home?
Still at her appointment, it would seem. You know, Miles, I have to say, I'm proud of you.
Why's that?
It's because you actually listen.
So does this mean you'll keep quiet until morning?
I said I was proud of you. I didn't say you were getting a reprieve.
Then I need to figure out how I'm going to sleep through the night without the soporific.
You worry about that too much, Miles. You can sleep when you're dead.
You don't ever seem to.
That's because I slept quite enough when I was alive.
In any case, I need to clear my head. The best way to do that after a case was always going for a drink at the Angel.
The Angel? But you haven't been there since...
Since you died. But perhaps getting back into old routines will help.
Perhaps. It would be nice to see old Patrick again at the very least. Then it's settled. A drink or two at the Angel, for old time's sake.
I have to say, it's been a real pleasure having you back, Miles. I was worried about you.
I appreciate your concern, Patrick. The past few months have been a bit rough, but it's good to be back in familiar territory.
Miles, can I ask you something?
What is it?
Well, it may be none of my business, and you can feel free to tell me to stuff it.
Enough with the preamble, Patrick. Just ask.
I know you quit the force, but why are you still working as a private investigator? Why not leave all that detecting stuff behind?
It's all I know. My grandfather was a cop, my father was a cop, so I became a cop. That's just how it went.
Oh, I hear ya. I come from 3 generations of butchers myself, but I broke the streak because I can't handle the sight of blood.
If only that had been true in my case.
Now then, will you be wanting another drink?
I'm not sure. I've already had 2. I should probably be getting... Wait a minute. Patrick, do you hear something?
No, Miles. I don't hear anything.
Neither do I. Another gin, if you please.
Coming right up.
Oh dear, what's this? Shady guy.
I must have taken a wrong turn back there. Hopefully Addie won't hear me come in.
Just save it quickly just in case, you know. Because you never know.
Excuse me, sir. Could you spare a shilling?
Here you are, my good man.
You always were willing to help the less fortunate, weren't you? But perhaps you should start thinking about helping yourself.
I beg your pardon?
Just look at yourself. I may be a beggar, but even I feel sorry for you.
Your voice. I've heard it before.
Yes, that's right. I'm your biggest failure.
What are you talking about?
Come now, Miles, you're not completely stupid. You think finding and catching me is going to make things better?
I don't know. It might not, but at least I'll have closure.
Again with the lying to yourself. Let's say you do find me, and this grand chase finally ends. What do you do the next morning? You still have a dead partner, no real job. Your wife knows you've been keeping things from her. Even if you solve 100 cases, it won't relieve that empty feeling inside.
What's your point?
I'm all you've got, Miles. Once I'm gone, there'll be nothing left. So just admit it. You don't want to find me. Not really.
Bad dreams?
You could say that. My head. How many drinks did I have last night?
You're asking the wrong person. I was out after the first one.
It seems Miss Maxwell was right about the effects of spirits. Go figure.
Yeah, well, let's not make a habit out of it, all right?
So, you're up at last.
Is something the matter, Addie?
Oh, I see. You don't remember last night, do you? I guess I shouldn't be surprised.
Whatever may have happened, I hope you can find it in your heart to forgive me.
Remorse comes before forgiveness, Miles. You don't even know what you're apologizing for.
Was it that bad? What exactly did I do?
It was nearly 2 when you burst in here, soused to the eyeballs from God knows where. I imagine you've probably forgotten that too. You were muttering something about peace and quiet and then proceeded to relieve yourself on my begonias before stumbling into bed.
Charming. I salute you, O Vice Admiral of the Narrow Seas.
Good God. How embarrassing. I'm so sorry, Addie. I don't know what came over me.
I don't either. I've never seen you in such a state, and I pray that I never will again.
I swear to you, this was a one-time mistake. You won't see me like that again.
What possessed you to go out and get so drunk anyway?
I decided to stop taking the soporific. It was interfering with my ability to focus on cases. I thought perhaps having a drink or two would help me sleep, and I got a bit carried away.
I see. Well, I'm at least glad you've stopped taking that terrible medicine. But trading it for alcohol? This had better really be a one-time occurrence. Anyway, you got another message from Upton. It's there on the table, if you're feeling fit for the world now.
Addie?
What is it, Miles?
Addie, please know that I'm deeply sorry for my behavior last night. I'll do everything I can to make it up to you. Would you like me to get some new begonias?
I don't need pretty flowers or pretty words, Miles. I just want things to go back to how they were. That's really all the apology I require.
You're looking especially lovely today, Addie.
Miles, don't flirt with me. Not now.
I wouldn't push my luck with her, Miles. She hasn't completely forgiven you.
What have you been up to lately?
Nothing particularly exciting. My usual clients have been scheduling appointments, and I've been trying to get some new ones as well. In my free time, I've been catching up on my reading.
Anything good?
Yes, the conclusion to the dissembling mechanism was just published in Brentwell magazine last week.
What's that?
James Penstroke's latest serial. I wanted to read it to you, but you haven't been around much lately.
Perhaps I'll take a look now that I can actually concentrate again.
Yes, you could read it to me. I wouldn't mind hearing it again. It would certainly be a nicer way to spend your time than going out drinking.
I'll let you get back to your book. Huh.
What does Upton say this time?
That she can't meet me, and that I should go straight to the scene of the crime.
I wonder if that means the police have started to suspect that she's giving you these cases.
She also says news of this case has been made public, and the police are already investigating. Have you heard of Desiree Lathan?
Yes, there's something about her in today's paper. I didn't read the article, though. Where's the crime scene?
840 right way. It's not too far.
Hey, day's been pretty good, actually, so...
You sure you're feeling up to this
really
today?
I'll be fine. The mental exercise will get me back to normal in no time.
Is this one? Okay, here we go. Desiree Lathan, age 63, was found burned to death in a home yesterday morning. Police were called to the scene by the neighbour who...
Well, this is shaping up to be quite the investigation. I should probably get a move on before the police ruin the crime scene any more than they already have.
Good luck, Miles. And stay away from the bars, would you?
Okay.
I'm heading out for now.
Don't work yourself too hard, dear.
Looks as though we've arrived fashionably late.
Excuse me, sir, but this is an active crime scene. We can't allow members of the public.
Oh, this isn't just any member of the public, Kane. This is Miles Fordham. He used to be one of us until he killed his partner.
Wonderful. Officer Parsons is on the scene. It's a shock the apartment isn't in a shambles.
Good day to you too, officers.
Fordham? What are you doing here?
Ah, Captain Snelling. What a pleasure.
That's Chief Snelling now, Fordham. I don't expect you follow the workings of the department much these days, but I'd appreciate the proper address.
So nice to see the power hasn't gone to his head.
My apologies, Chief Snelling.
You haven't answered my question. What in blazes are you doing here?
The story was front page news. I couldn't resist coming to have a look for myself.
There's no respect for police business anymore, damn meddlers. This is an active crime scene, Fordham. Leave the premises immediately.
We could solve this case in no time if we work together, you know.
We don't need any help, not even from former detectives. Parsons, I'm going back to the station. I want you to report the minute you're done here. Understand?
Yes, sir.
Now, don't get any funny ideas, Fordham. If you so much as breathe on anything in here, I'll have you arrested for tampering with a crime scene. Do I make myself clear?
Yes, sir.
I'm glad that's settled.
I suppose it's reassuring that even in this crazy, ever-changing world, you can always count on Snelling to be a complete ass.
You heard the chief. No snooping around. The sooner you get out of here, the better for all of us.
I'm here.
Good to see you've made it back in one piece.
Addie?
What is it, Miles?
Was Desiree Lathan a client of yours by any chance?
No, but plenty of the other grand dames used to gossip about her.
What sort of things would they say?
Usually they'd comment about how much she'd had to drink the night before. I got the impression she was quite the tippler. I hope you're not planning on following her example.
That would require me to burn to death in our bed.
Then I stand by my previous statement.
Please let me see that beautiful smile of yours, Addie.
That's enough, Miles. If you're just going to stand there and throw meaningless words at me, you're better off not saying anything at all.
But...
Stop it. I'm trying my best to move past this. Don't make it worse.
Time for me to get some things done.
I look forward to your return.
Nope, it's still here then. So how do I get to investigate then?
An invitation to the Gascon Grand Dame's Ball. It seems it was held 2 nights ago at the Gascon Supper Club. Might be worth looking into, seeing as it's our only lead right now. That painting depicts a hand dropping a bunch of blood-soaked silver coins into another hand. Definitely sets the bar for the type of people who come here, I'd say. The bridge to Lyon overlooking the House of Parliament. I suppose that seeing that helps the patrons of this club put on airs. Nobody's bothered clearing this table yet, it seems. These are all high-end foo-foo liqueurs and cordials.
Foo-foo
Couldn't pay me to
liqueurs.
drink that rubbish.
Excuse me, miss?
Oh, well, hello there, handsome. I've never seen you around here before. Care to join me for a drink?
A bit early in the day, don't you think?
Perhaps I would think, if I wasn't on my 3rd cocktail.
Impressive. You may have just met your match.
The name's Miles Fordham, and you are?
Charlotte Robineau.
Pleasure. Would you mind if I asked you a few questions?
I suppose not. It would help pass the time.
Were you here for the Grand Dame's ball the other night?
Of course, we all were. Well, except for Laura. Terrible business.
You mean Laura Dupre?
The very same. Have you met?
I have. In fact, I investigated her attempted murder.
Is that right? I heard she ended up in jail for torturing her servants.
Yes, it was quite disturbing.
I didn't think Laura was capable of such a thing. She always seemed so kind. I guess we all have our dark secrets.
Does that apply to you as well, Miss Robineau?
If I told you, then it would no longer be a secret, would it?
Fair point. Do you know Desiree Lathan?
I knew her, yes.
When did you last speak to her?
Oh, it's been ages. She and I haven't had much to do with each other for a while.
Why is that?
It's really not important. We just didn't see eye to eye on a few things.
Was she at the Grand Dame's ball?
Yes, she was. Drinking up a storm as usual. Desi really knew how to enjoy herself.
How much did she drink?
Oh, I don't know. She used to outmatch me, and I can handle quite a bit.
Tell me a little about yourself.
Why, Mr. Fordham, I hardly know you. That said, I'm always open to making new friends.
Watch out, Miles. I think she's getting ready to pounce.
What can you tell me about Desiree's death?
Just what I've read in the papers. She burned to death. It's horrible. She certainly didn't deserve to die in such a gruesome way.
Did she have any enemies? Anyone who might have wanted to do her harm?
No. Everyone loved her.
Except you?
Mr. Fordham, I said we haven't had much to do with each other. That doesn't mean I didn't care for her. Now please, let's drop the subject.
You've really got a great sense of fashion and style. All the other grand dames must be jealous.
Oh, you.
Can I just say you've got the most radiant smile I've ever seen?
Oh, why, that's very sweet of you, Mr. Fordham.
It's true. Not many women your age still have all their teeth intact.
I beg your pardon?
I didn't know you were such a master of the high kick, Miles. You got your foot in your mouth in record time.
I just meant... You know what? Never mind. I must compliment you on your lovely hairstyle.
Oh, how sweet of you to say. Though it is getting a bit ragged. I'm having it done this afternoon, in fact. My girl Adelaide is a treasure.
You don't say. Well, she must be talented to improve on near perfection.
Oh, such a flattering tongue, Mr. Fordham.
Thanks for your time. I'll let you get back to your drink.
Thanks, sweetheart.
Hmm.
Well, if no one's cleaned up, you might as well do them the favor. These are all high-end. These are all high-end.
Okay, I don't think there's anything else here then.
Definitely too young to be Miss Latham. Perhaps a relative?
Hmm.
Hey, Addie. Here I am.
Hello.
You've mucked up things enough with her for now. Best to leave her be until some time passes. Your book collection has always astonished me. Heaven help you if you ever decide to move.
I'm heading out for now.
I look forward to your return.
Hmm. There's got to be something else I can do here then. But it's just kind of risky, I guess. So I'm going to save it just in case, because you never know.
You have to hand it to her. Miss Latham certainly had a unique taste in fashion. I bet you could see her coming a mile away. No title. I doubt it's a diary. People rarely leave those things laying out in the open. Judging by these books, Miss Latham was quite the fan of poetry. Let's just hope her taste was better than Madame Dupre's.
Excuse me, Officer Parsons.
Clear off, Fordham. The chief doesn't want you here, and neither do I. You aren't on the force anymore, so you've got to respect the rules, just like every other citizen.
He'd be respecting my fist if I were alive, believe me.
I'm not trying to cause any trouble. I just want to ask a few questions.
Well, if it will get you to leave faster.
Why was Chief Snelling here anyway?
He's the chief of police, and this is an official investigation. It doesn't take a grand leap of logic.
Yes, but the chief of police never bothers with a crime scene unless it's of great importance.
Your point?
Does that mean this crime scene is, in fact, of great importance?
You're the investigator, Fordham. I'll leave you to work that one out.
How long has Officer Kane been on the force?
I'm not one to gossip, Fordham.
That's only the second most hypocritical thing I've heard today.
Ask him yourself if you're so interested.
You're looking well these days, Parsons. What's your secret?
Secret? I don't know. Maybe something about getting a good night's sleep without blood on my hands? Does wonders.
Have you made much progress on this investigation?
Drop it, before I have to arrest you for interfering with a police investigation.
What can you tell me about Desiree Latham?
Nothing.
Because you don't know?
No, because I'm not going to betray Chief Snelling's orders and divulge that information to the public.
Come on, Parsons, you know me. What harm would it do to tell me just a little bit?
Do I have to state the obvious? If it were up to me, you'd be in jail for murdering an officer.
I wouldn't make such claims without knowing the facts, Parsons. It could get you in serious trouble. It'd be a real tragedy to see your career cut short and you back in the workhouse polishing airship rivets.
You don't scare me, Fordham.
Rest assured, the feeling is mutual. That's all I wanted to know.
Good.
Begging your pardon, officer.
Yes, what is it, sir?
What was Chief Snelling doing here?
Nothing more than a routine inspection of the crime scene.
Routine inspection? But the Chief of Police only goes to extremely high-profile crime scenes.
I couldn't possibly comment on that, sir.
Do you enjoy working with Officer Parsons?
I don't like to talk about my colleagues, sir. Especially when they're standing right over there.
I understand. Perhaps this isn't the right time to be asking. How long have you been on the force, officer?
2 months, sir.
And how's it treating you so far?
This is where I was meant to be.
That's good to hear.
Parsons mentioned you used to be a detective?
I was, yes, for 15 years. It wasn't always easy, but I loved every minute of it.
Parsons goes on about how he's got his eye on becoming a detective, but I don't know if I'd be able to handle it.
Is that right?
Yes. He's up for review. I think he's trying to impress Snelling to improve his chances.
Parsons wants to be a detective? Now I've heard it all. As if he needed more of a reason to be Snelling's lapdog.
Is there anything you can tell me about Desiree Lathan?
I'm afraid not. You don't have clearance in this investigation.
And there's nothing I can say to convince you otherwise?
My superiors would be very upset if they knew I was breaking the rules. I'm sorry.
I think the operative phrase in this instance is if they knew. We need to find a way to get Parsons out of here. Maybe we should visit Upton at the station.
Thanks for your time, officer.
Not a problem.
I didn't imagine we'd be coming back here in this lifetime.
Fordham, have you solved the case already?
Don't I wish? I haven't even gotten started.
Well, I'm here if you need anything. Just be sure not to let Snelling see you.
Is he back yet?
He arrived a few minutes ago. I expect he'll be sequestered in his office today, so you shouldn't have to worry too much.
Good to know.
I don't think I've ever seen anyone reading those books. I'm half convinced they're purely decorative. Prime Minister Atwood, watching over the department with his signature scowl.
Got a moment, Upton?
Yes, but let's make this quick.
I see the Gazette has caught wind of this supposed mass murderer.
Yes, Snelling has been positively fuming about it. Between that and the Lathan case being publicized on the same day, it's been a nightmare for the department.
Any idea how they got the information?
I don't think anyone in the department has spoken to the press. Maybe they just have some very good reporters.
So is it serious? Should we be concerned?
3 murders is nothing to sneeze at, but all the victims have been men in Chumley. If that changes, then things might start getting urgent.
Isn't that just the way of things? You can bet they'd have already caught the bastard if the first body had turned up in Leon.
Any updates on the Harris baby?
He's back home and doing well, thanks to you.
I'm glad to hear it.
You did an impressive job. I admit I was a bit concerned about how you'd fare after months of taking it easy. But I suppose detective work is like riding a bicycle.
It's a guaranteed way to end up with a broken arm.
I'm having some trouble with Officer Parsons.
You and everyone else who's ever met him. What's the problem?
He's keeping me away from the Lathan crime scene.
Of course. He's one of the most loyal to Snelling.
Any suggestions for how I might get him away so I can look around?
I might have an idea. There are several reported crimes that haven't been assigned yet, and Parsons is itching to prove his investigative chops. He'd probably abandon his post for a good enough lead and a chance to impress Snelling.
Upton, oh good, you impress me.
Department politics are something of a specialty of mine.
Back to work, I see.
Yes, well, the coffee shop holiday had to end eventually. I'm gonna have to find someplace else to meet you. The higher-ups are getting suspicious.
To be honest, it was a bit wretched there. I won't miss it.
Well then, Mr. Big Bug, you can have the honor of choosing the next place. Under a bridge somewhere, perhaps.
Have you been able to find any leads on Bill's death?
Have you?
Not yet, no.
I don't want to get your hopes up, but I may have something.
Oh?
The man you're looking for, he was burgling a flower shop, right?
Yes.
I couldn't help but notice that in the last 2 cases you've had, plants have been used to drug people. It may just be a coincidence, but I also think it's something worth looking out for. If it becomes a pattern, there's a good chance it might be related.
But 2 different people did the drugging.
True, but in both cases, they learned from someone else.
It's a stretch, but it's better than nothing. I'll take it into consideration. About getting Parsons away from the crime scene?
All right, these are the, as of yet, unassigned crimes. The body of a young man was found in the Hodgman River by the Gascon docks this morning. A woman named Chumley reported hearing a single gunshot in her neighbor's apartment last night. There was a deadly explosion at a factory in Worcester that may be linked to sabotage. And that's it for right now. Any of those strike your fancy?
Tell me more about the body found at the docks.
An unidentified man in his 20s was found in the river near the docks. The dock worker who reported it said that the body was bloated and decomposing. He must have been in the river several days. Dr. Edwards performed a post-mortem and determined the cause of death to be a blow to the head.
I see. Certainly leaves a lot of questions.
Do you think Parsons will be interested?
Sounds good. Let's go with that one.
All right, I'll send out the report as soon as we're done talking.
Have a moment to go over my current case?
I'm afraid you're on your own this time, Fordham. The walls have ears around here. If they find out I'm helping you, it won't end well for either of us.
Understood.
I'll still be here when you've solved it, though.
That's it for now.
Better get back to it, then.
Damn, looks like Parsons didn't take the bait. He must not have considered that case enough to prove himself to Snelling.
Got a moment?
Yes, but...
Unfortunately, Parsons didn't take the bait.
Nothing worse than a picky investigator. I wish more people were like you.
Thank you?
All right, these are the, as of yet, unassigned crimes. A woman named Chumley reported hearing a single gunshot in her neighbor's apartment last night. There was a deadly explosion at a factory in Worcester that may be linked to sabotage. And that's it for right now. Any of those strike your fancy?
Give me the details about the factory explosion.
The owner of the Hawkins Steelworks reported an explosion at his factory that killed 2 of his workers. He says he's been getting several threatening letters about his current project.
And so he suspects someone has sabotaged the operation?
Yes, likely the Redites. Do you think Parsons will be interested?
Sounds good. Let's go with that one.
All right, I'll send out the report as soon as we're done talking.
That's it for now.
I hope for that'll be the one, but we don't know. So it might not. But it sounds more like it would be. Nope. Really?
Damn, looks like Parsons didn't take the bait. He must not have considered that case enough to prove himself to Snelling.
Maybe the woman with the gunshot then? Wow.
Got a moment?
He is really picky.
Yes, but let's make this quick.
Unfortunately, Parsons didn't take the bait.
Nothing worse than a picky investigator. I wish more people were like you.
Thank you?
All right, these are the, as of yet, unassigned crimes. A woman named Chumley reported hearing a single gunshot in her neighbor's apartment last night. And that's it for right now. Any of those strike your fancy?
Let's hear about the gunshot.
Ethel Williamson reported hearing a sound she described as a single gunshot coming from her neighbor's apartment last night. She said she had been hearing arguments over the past several weeks, and there may have been domestic violence involved. When she knocked on the door, she got no answer, but she said she noticed the distinct smell of flowers.
Intriguing.
Do you think Parsons will be interested?
Sounds good. Let's go with that one.
All right, I'll send out the report as soon as we're done talking.
That's it for now.
Better get back to it then.
Looks like Parsons took the bait. Now maybe we can finally have a look around the crime scene.
Begging your pardon, officer.
Yes, what is it, sir?
Do you enjoy working with Officer Parsons?
If I'm being honest, he can be a bit much sometimes.
Trust me, you're not the only one who feels that way. I didn't have much interaction with him when I was a detective, but the few times I did weren't very pleasant.
I could tell he doesn't seem to care much for you. Although I don't think he cares much for anyone except the chief, and that's only because he's the one who gives out the promotions.
What was Chief Snelling doing here?
He was inspecting the crime scene.
Yes, but why was he involved? Is there something special about it that would require the chief of police to look into it?
Well, someone thought it might be related to the big case we're not supposed to talk about.
You mean the mass murderer?
Yes, sir. I could see why the chief is upset that the news has gotten out.
And is it related?
No, I don't believe so. But the news reports have been getting the public on edge.
Of course. The less information there is, the easier it is for rumors to start spreading.
Exactly. Chief Snelling has a lot of fires to put out.
If that's the case, it's too bad he didn't get to Miss Lathan in time.
Is there anything you can tell me about Desiree Lathan?
I couldn't really say.
Come now, I'm trying to help this investigation. Any small detail would be useful.
Well, I haven't really looked over the crime scene too much. It's rather gruesome, you see.
Is the body still here?
Yes. What's left of it, at any rate. Miss Lathan was only identified by the tattoo on her foot.
I see. Has there been much progress here?
Snelling and Parsons examined the scene, that's all I know.
Do you think I might have a look, now that the initial investigation's been conducted?
I'm afraid that's out of the question, sir. I have my orders.
Officer Kane, I'm trying to aid this investigation. There may have been something overlooked by the others.
If Parsons were to catch you, my career would be over.
Trust me, he won't be back for some time. I swear on my honor as a former member of the New Britannia Police.
All right. I suppose you can go in for a moment, but please be quick about it.
Thank you, Officer Kane. I promise this will stay between us.
I just love rookie officers. They're so gullible. I once got one to shine my shoes for a week after convincing him it was department policy. Good times.
Thanks for your time, officer.
Not a problem.
Okay.
That's certainly a pungent aroma. I can see why the officer's stuck to the living room.
Surprisingly modest quarters for a grande dame. You'd never guess she could buy out the likes of you and me 1,000 times over. That's a nice portrait of Miss Lathan. Too bad it was damaged by the fire. The area where the artist's signature should be has been singed and is unreadable. Too bad.
But the date is still legible. It's from this year.
Some crumpled up letters. They look to be of the romantic variety.
They're from the same person. One Peter Andrews.
It's always sad to see a case of unrequited love. I'm thinking we should find out who this Peter Andrews is.
Good idea. Now, are you finally willing to admit that looking through rubbish does yield results sometimes?
Fine, you win. But I don't think I envy your prize. It looks as though Miss Lathan was in the middle of writing something.
It's an article for Brentwell magazine.
Igniting the fires within. A bit on the nose, wouldn't you say? Classic Brentwell. They have a reputation for making their writers go to extremes for their articles, all for the sake of entertainment.
Perhaps we should pay their offices a visit, see exactly what it was Miss Lathan was doing for them.
As much as I like this painting, this isn't the time for art appreciation.
There's a letter in here.
This just keeps getting more and more interesting. The law firm of Usher and Price isn't too far from here. I think it's definitely worth paying him a little visit. Ashes to ashes and all that. I'm glad I was buried. Cremation always seemed a bit too...
He's missing a hand though, right?
Now's not the time for jokes, Bill.
Are you serious? Death is the best time for jokes. Otherwise, it's all just a bunch of boo-hoo-hoo this and wah-wah-wah that. And trust me, there's plenty of that in life. Hell, you'd know better than anyone.
All right. Just shut it for a bit while I look over the crime scene, would you? I need to concentrate.
Alas, poor Desiree, a woman of infinite riches, of tastes most fancy. Where's all your money now? Come to think of it, that question might be worth answering. Ugh, greasy, fetid, stinking ashes. Who knew the human body was capable of producing such a disgusting byproduct?
I'm surprised the coroner hasn't taken the body away yet.
Probably because there isn't much of a body left to take. Either that or Dr. Edwards knows better than to deal with something like this.
That's extremely unlike him. He'd jump at the chance to examine this body. Perhaps we should allow him the pleasure.
I hope you're not suggesting what I think you're suggesting. Oh, Miles, really? You're going to carry the ashes around in a pewter mug?
It's vital to the investigation that we find out exactly what happened to the body. If anyone can tell us for certain, it's Dr. Edwards.
Fair enough. I suppose this isn't the most unpleasant thing you've carried around before. Remember that time we had to go looking for that murder victim's missing head?
I'd really rather not, actually.
I don't think Desiree will be able to give us a hand with this investigation.
Bill?
What? I thought it was funny. This one's clean. Well, aside from the fact that the rest of the leg is burned off. There's a tattoo on her ankle. It says, "Dancing through life." Hate to break it to her, but that dance is over. I don't think there's much else we can learn just by looking at these ashes, Miles. Odd. Another pile of ashes under the bed. Looks as though whatever she kept underneath got burned too. Or it could be that whatever was under the bed is what caught fire in the first place. Although, there's no evidence of what started it. All that's left is a small piece of cloth. Might as well take it.
The cloth appears to have some oily residue on it. Interesting.
The flames must have been fairly high to be able to stain the ceiling like that. Doesn't look as though this fireplace has been used in a long time. I suppose we can rule it out as the source. Looks like this one barely managed to survive. Pity. It looked like a nice work of art.
I don't think there's anything else left in here to really look at, because I think I've got what I can from in here.
Was there someone else in the room just now? I thought I heard you talking.
Oh, no. It's just sometimes I think aloud when investigating crime scenes.
I see.
Good save. We don't need any more police officers thinking you're insane.
Ugh. The smell from the bedroom is getting worse. I don't know how much longer I can stand it.
Right, what I think I'm going to do now for today, guys, though, is I think I'm going to save it here for today and hopefully carry this on for the next stream. So we're going to call it stream 7. Got that saved and go to the start menu. There we go. So I hope you guys have enjoyed today's stream. I really do actually enjoy this game. This game is getting very interesting to kind of see what my actions are going to actually prove as the outcome to the end of the game, because I've seen in the trailer that there is a chance that certain actions can lead to certain endings. I don't know how many different endings there are, but hopefully I'm going to get the good one. So yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed today's stream, and I will see you guys next time. Bye guys.